9/11 attacks has been killed. Osama bin Laden has been killed. His body is in United States custody, and President Obama will be addressing the nation in just a minute.
Absolutely. And the significance of this for law enforcement, as Pierre has reported, now to keep an eye on, will there be a reaction? Will those people who perhaps are planning attacks see this as a signal to go ahead? This comes 1 year to the day, George, when a young man tried to blow up a truck bomb in Times Square. He was unsuccessful, but he was inspired by the message of bin Laden. There are others like him still out there, and one question will be, was that death triggered that?
And since then, Al-Qaeda has not been able to carry out the more spectacular attack they were hoping for after 9/11.
That's right. There's been no big attack like 9/11. They tried and tried. They shifted tactics to go for a series of small attacks that would have a psychological effect on the public and keep America and the West on guard, off guard.
President Obama had declared in the campaign that he would make Osama bin Laden his #1 target, that he would not rest, that he would put even more resources into going after Osama bin Laden than had been put into the hunt by George W. Bush's White House tonight. As we approach the 10-year anniversary of 9/11, we have learned that Osama bin Laden has been killed. As we wait for President Obama to address the nation, I want to go quickly to Martha Raddatz. I think Martha might have gone away for a moment. Richard Clark, are you with us?
Yes, George, I am.
If you could just talk about what had gone into the effort. You were the head of counterterrorism at the White House for so many years to target bin Laden.
Well, there were attempts to kill him beginning in 1998 when President Clinton put his name on a hit list. And the CIA was ordered to do that inside Afghanistan. That didn't work. There was an attempt to get him by U.S. forces when we invaded under President Bush in October of 2001. That didn't work, and he was able to escape into Pakistan. And it appears from where he was captured or where he was killed that he may have been in Pakistan all these last 10 years in that wild outback area where American forces had a very, very difficult time going. That's why the Predators were so key in flushing him out. But it sounds like perhaps the U.S. forces went across the border to get him. Clearly, the U.S. forces had to go across at least to get the body. And that does mean that there will be a reaction in Pakistan, of course. I think that's inconsequential. This is exactly what President Obama said he would do, that he would go across the line into Pakistan to get a high-value target. That was a very controversial thing when he said it during the campaign. Both Republicans and Democrats criticized him, but he meant it when he said it, and he obviously ordered it to happen.
And Pierre Thomas, you cover the Justice Department, the FBI. Osama had been in their sights for so many years. Are you getting any more information now on how this may have gone down?
Well, again, my sources are saying exactly what we've been reporting, that this was military/intelligence, not law enforcement involved. I do have a source confirming that they do have the body. We believe that a law enforcement agency, probably the FBI, did do the DNA analysis. Now, one of the things that's very important here is that the U.S. government has made bin Laden the focus. I can tell you the Attorney General, the FBI Director, the Homeland Security Secretary, all make terrorism the #1 thing that they do every day.
Okay, thank you, Pierre. I want to go to John Carl now, our congressional correspondent. The leaders of Congress, Republican, Democrat alike, have started to get briefed, John?
Yes, they sure have, George. And I've also been talking to national security sources. And the key thing that I've learned is that this was an attack on the ground, that U.S. Joint Special Operations Command forces went in, did this attack on a compound that they had been monitoring for months. They had believed that they had a good line on where bin Laden was for months. Wanted to be absolutely sure and wanted to go in on the ground, George, which, as you can imagine, what kind of a dangerous operation this would have been. But they wanted to do this so they could get the body, so there would be no doubt that they had killed bin Laden. So this was not like so many of the other attacks we've seen on al-Qaeda targets in Pakistan over the last few years, which have been drone strikes from the air. This was an attack on the ground by U.S. Special Operations.
And there is no doubt now President Obama will address the nation shortly. And Jake Tapper at the White House, a remarkable scene now. A couple of hundred people starting to gather, singing the Star-Spangled Banner, chanting USA, 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 the reaction already coming in.
That's exactly right. And you might remember there was a similar outpouring after 9/11 of people coming together and singing the national anthem. Of course, it was a different mood. This is more jubilation, and the jubilation outside the White House with tourists gathering, chanting USA, singing the national anthem, is not unlike the jubilation here at the White House, with aides and officials having been huddling in the Situation Room excuse me, since late morning. And President Obama, of course, about to address the